by clicking on our ad at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
You are listening to WTIM, your information station, and it's time now for the WTIM Morning Show. I'm your host, Tim Zalabak. Thank you all for tuning in this morning, and thanks so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. On the phone line, we have Ed Shimon, warning coordination meteorologist with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Ed, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Tim.
Thank you so much for being back with us. We've had all types of ups and downs with our weather. Let's start with July. I mean, what's been the conversation out there? What do the people need to know? What was interesting to you?
Well, July was one of the most active severe weather months we've had in quite some time. In fact, the state of Illinois set a new single 24-hour tornado count record of 49 tornadoes on the July 15th calendar day. Occurred with the derecho that went through Illinois, and just an unbelievable number of tornadoes occurred. And then along with that, obviously straight line wind damage, the power outages, the impacts were just tremendous from that July 14th, 15th event scenario there.
Yeah, there were days where it was rolling all throughout Taylorville and the clouds were forming, but they didn't quite drop right by us. This 24-hour tornado record right here. Whereabouts? What areas were these tornadoes falling in?
Most of them were in northern half of Illinois, so just north of Taylorville, really. Like Fulton County, Peoria, Marshall, into Tazewell. Yeah. So it was mostly, obviously, a little bit north of Taylorville, and the impacts didn't occur down that far south as bad. But it was quite a crazy 2 days, the 14th and 15th, where we had 5 tornadoes in our area on the 14th, and then 10 tornadoes for our county warning area on the 15th. And then Chicago's area had 32 tornadoes on the 15th. So it was just one of the most impactful middle of the month severe weather events. Luckily, Taylorville didn't take the brunt of those. So,
is it surprising to see this plentiful type tornadoes this north, that far north?
Yeah, that is unusual. We have derechos that occur, maybe one derecho every year or so, every other year. But, having that many tornadoes that spawn at the same time is highly unusual. And, as a state over the last 30 years, on a rolling 30-year average, we average about 56 tornadoes in the whole state of Illinois. And right now we're up to, I think, over 130, which sets a new record for a calendar year already. And we've, plenty of time left in the year to add more onto that. So, it's just been kind of a crazy year in terms of tornado development in Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk a lot about the tornadoes. Explain that derecho one more time again. It's the word that I have a hard time pronouncing and spelling out there, but it's similar to a tornado.
Derecho is a long-lived straight line wind event. It develops when there's a squall line that becomes bowed out, or it's called a bow echo. And there's just a momentum that develops behind these storm systems that can track these for hundreds of miles. And a derecho is defined by about 260 miles of nearly continuous damage from wind speeds of at least 60 miles an hour. So it's a really wide swath and a long swath of damaging winds that occur from, and that can be worse than a tornado, because sometimes people have reported 15 minutes of winds that were causing damage. Whereas a tornado, it's in, it's out, maybe 30 seconds, a minute at most. But 15 minutes of 100-mile-an-hour winds at times can, cause a lot more damage than a tornado, and in a lot of cases it does.
Yeah, never heard it described that way, and with the time duration right there, that can really cause some problems there. That can be extreme. So what was it? Think back to, if you can think back to July 14th, 15th right there. What types of temperatures, pressures were we experienced that created for this?
We had the weather patterns with an active jet stream that kind of fed behind this line of storms, 2 of them that developed back-to-back days, and the atmosphere was just primed with enough instability or cold air mass aloft and very, very warm, moist air near the ground. So that combination just sets up for intense storms. And then when you have a jet stream that's just correlated perfectly with the alignment, as those storms develop and jet stream kind of pushes in behind these storms and just creates downbursts that are really intense. So that's kind of the situation that was set up for back-to-back days there in the middle of the month.
Makes sense. Any serious reported damage to you?
There were quite a few homes that were destroyed up north, northern half of Illinois. So trees, a lot of the damage further south towards like Peoria, Marshall, Stark. That was a lot of tree damage that went into homes, into power lines, into cars. Not as much the structural damage. Even the tornadoes that were this far south were a little bit on the weaker side in general. But, any damage to a home can possibly cause it to be uninhabitable due to the ability of water to get in the home and whatnot. So, the impacts were present all across the area from that one.
Yeah. Any injuries or deaths reported?
Very few injuries, no deaths,
Good.
which is unheard of. I mean, there's that many tornadoes. You'd think there's going to just be somebody that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A tree hits whatever, the home has enough damage to, it just no deaths. And that's attributed to the fact that people are really heeding our warnings. They have multiple ways to get the warnings. And when, you get a warning and take action, the results speak volumes that nobody was killed out of an event where we had 49 tornadoes.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing. 24-hour tornado record in Illinois right there. And once again, from Ed Shimon, warning coordination meteorologist, no injuries, no serious injuries reported, no deaths. That's really, really great words in there. And you mentioned, there's definitely no lack of notifications, whether it's from your Apple or Android device or whether it's from an actual app you have. There's also the people out there can get involved with the efforts if they do see rotation. Isn't there a number they can call? Can't they be some sort of storm spotter themselves?
Correct. Yeah, we have a storm spotter training program. Usually is focused in the spring, and we have an office number for the spotters to call in on an 800 line, and they use that to give us instant information. And a lot of people are actually now going towards social media posts really quickly with a video or a picture or something, and that's helped more people contact our office instead of that waiting for a phone line, to be available. They can immediately get us information through some of the social media realms, and that's boosted our ability to gather information from a wide swath of people quickly and don't have to get on the phone, because phone calls take time and resources, and if you can just silently be getting information without having to have that phone ring, that has been helpful.
Yeah, that social media can be pretty instant if you have people responding as they are. So that's really, really great words to hear about our the July 14th and 15th. Very severe weather there. Lots of tornadoes touching down, lots of derechos, but everybody on the same page there in the effort to stay safe. Ed, we're in our last minute of this first segment. Any last words to wrap up our July weather there as we're going to continue our August weather into the next segment?
Yeah, that was the highlight. And, as far as heat goes, it really wasn't all that bad. We only had maybe 4 days above 90 or 5 or so. So the month ended up below average in general, but there was a little bit of heat that came with that system. But overall, not overly wet. I think, we maintained enough moisture to keep the drought from expanding, and, not too bad.
Perfect. We're going to be learning a little bit more about our current temperatures out there. It's been beautiful these past couple of days. From Ed Shimon, warning coordination meteorologist with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. We're going to take our first break here on this WTIM morning show.
Your information station, WTIM.
If you're like most people, finding extra money for your savings just doesn't happen. Hi, this is Mason Crow at People's Bank and Trust, and we have the solution you've been looking for. Sign up for our Save by Spending Roundup program, and we'll round up your purchases to the next dollar, then transfer that change to your savings account. It's as easy as shop, enjoy, and save. Start saving for things you really want with our Save by Spending Roundup program. Call 888-PBT-1954 and let us put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Find out all the great things happening in the Pana area on the WTIM Pana Morning Show, Tuesdays from 8:40 till 10. You'll hear interviews with Pana area community, nonprofit, and business leaders each week. The WTIM Pana Morning Show is brought to you by these sponsors.
Our title sponsor, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Your Pana Save-A-Lot, Whiskey Bill's Saloon and Liquor Emporium, and Locked and Loaded Limited.
Taylorville Estates Assisted Living is where they encourage independence and enrich lives. Have your own apartment and enjoy 3 home-cooked meals a day. Socialize with friends and ride the bus to many local activities. Residents are treated like family at Taylorville Estates Assisted Living. Find out vacancies and get on the waiting list by contacting Administrator Tony Clark. You can stop by or call 824-2222. That's 824-2222. Taylorville Estates Assisted Living, encouraging independence, enriching lives.
Parents, your Christian County Health Department at their new location, 730 North Pawnee, across from Taylorville Junior High School, can help get your kids ready to start the new school year by offering immunizations at little or no cost. If your children are entering kindergarten, 6th, 11th, or 12th grade, CCHD provides free or low-cost immunizations. Stop by the health department to get the details. It's just another way the Christian County Health Department serves our community by preventing the spread of disease, as well as protecting, assuring, and improving the public's health.
Seeing is believing, and your new customers can now hear and see your message. Deliver your message on our 6 Miller Media Group radio stations. And now, potential customers will see your message on our new 36 by 72-inch two-sided electronic sign installed in front of our Taylorville studios on Illinois Route 29. You have the opportunity of having your message seen by over 11,200 drivers a day. Contact your Miller Media Group account manager today and deliver your message through your potential customers' ears and eyes.
Pastor Brian Moore here from Locust Grove Church near Assumption. We are alive and so worth the drive. Find directions to our church and watch our video podcast by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Agriculture is our largest industry. Your agriculture information station is WTIM, AM, FM, and online. Tune in or stream WTIM's over 8 hours a day of ag information featuring our local farm broadcaster to be in the know.
Your information station, WTIM.
And welcome back into the WTIM Morning Show, our first segment this morning with Ed Shimon, Morning Coordination Meteorologist with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Thanks so much to our live stream sponsors and those tuning in there. People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. With Ed, we talked the July 14th and 15th, very 24-hour tornado record days. There's just a whole lot of movement there with derechos and a whole lot of touchdown tornadoes. But in the past couple of weeks here, Ed, I'm looking at highs of 74, and just this week, highs of very low 80s and high 70s. Is this normal for August?
Absolutely not. No, yeah. We've been 10 to 15 degrees below normal the last 3 days, and below normal since the 7th. So it's just been really highly unusual. The state fair kicked off and just had banner weather. Probably near record numbers of attendees, although I'm guessing on that. But I was down there working, and it was absolutely packed. So just a really highly unusual, highs in the 70s, lows in the low 50s.
Yeah, really cooperating for us here in Christian County with the end of July there with perfect weather for it now, fixing itself back up for the Illinois State Fair. Now, does this have any effects with lows getting even into the 50s during the night times? Is there plant life out there? Is there any type of operation that's going to be messed up by these lower temps at this time of the year?
As far as I know, I don't think so. It's most of the crops are reached their peak maturity, and the cold nights I don't think are really causing any problems with that. It seems like this is relatively low impact with the lows just in the 50s.
Yeah. So what is the cause for all of this, and will there be a rebound in this August for the rest of summer? Will we be feeling some of that normal summer heat again?
Yeah, it looks like we're going to kind of flip the switch here. We're slowly going to warm up this week, and along with that, we're going to bring in a round of some heavier rain Wednesday night through Thursday night. Potential up to about 2 to 2.5 inches of rain in the Taylorville area. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that and seeing how impactful that is. Some of the thunderstorms Thursday might get a little strong.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask any indication of severe threats coming our way. So you're seeing something on Wednesday. What is it that you can see already on a Monday? Is there anything that you see in the forecast that makes you say that?
Just the way that how much instability is going to be developing as the moisture and the low levels increases this week. So the rain that comes in today, low impact, mostly really very little thunderstorm activity even today as rain moves in. But then the Wednesday night, there's going to be a wave of storms, and then Thursday we have more of a cold front coming in later on in the evening and overnight. That's probably going to have some the more intense, potential for wind damage and some hail out of those storms.
Interesting. Developing instability is a funny term right there, but it makes sense when you're talking weather. What is that? What does that term usually mean? What are you looking at?
Basically, that's a lot of heat and humidity near the ground, coupled with cooler air moving in aloft with the jet stream. So when you have cold air aloft, it's like a hot air balloon. The colder the air is above it, the faster it's going to rise. So if you have a big temperature difference between 20 and 30,000 feet, and the hot, humid, moist air near the ground, that air rises much more rapidly, creating more intense updrafts in those thunderstorms, which attributes to large hail and damaging winds.
Perfect. This is Ed Shimon speaking, warning coordination meteorologist with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Just a whole lot of great words there. Ed, it was a while back when we had our conversation about the signs, the symptoms of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Now we're kind of past those really hot days. Any reports to the NOAA or anything on that you'd like to say?
We didn't have as many long stretches of heat, so I don't know that the impacts were too bad. We never issued an excessive heat warning this summer, which is good, because the heat impacts can be really profound and cause some significant health impacts to people. But as far as I know, there were no significant issues with the heat that we had this summer.
Sure.
Going forward, dog days of summer are still part of August, so as the switch flips, I'm showing above normal temperatures the rest of the month here. So we're probably going to start heading up into the mid to upper 80s, maybe some 90s again here before the month is done.
Alrighty, enjoy the cool temps while you can. That's right there from Ed Shimon. And kind of redirecting our conversation back to that 24-hour tornado record day in Illinois, July 14th, July 15th. Have you heard of any conversations about that tornado alley or very popular place for tornadoes? Has that been shifting at all? Is there any movement being made there?
Yeah, there's been studies done, not a lot, but Harold Brooks out of the National Severe Storms Lab has published something that shows it's shifting eastward and slightly to the north into Illinois, southern Illinois officially, but most of it is showing that you're getting Alabama, Mississippi into the tornado alley instead of always just Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas. As far as how far north into Illinois, there's still a little gray area there. But certainly there is a shift eastward, that zone of more tornadic activity and tornado alleys, so to speak. Yeah.
How far into the year can we go where you will still see a tornado? Are there Christmas tornadoes that are possible?
Absolutely. Yeah, we had one tornado that went through Lake Petersburg, just northwest of Springfield on December 31st, and we were doing damage surveys on January 1st, and freezing cold northwest winds, but all times of the year.
Wow. Yeah. All right, Ed, we're in our final minute here. Any final words for our listeners about the rest of our August weather, or any type of warning coordination tips?
Well, we're always trying to, make sure everybody has a weather radio. And severe weather can happen at day and night, and that weather radio is your number one warning siren in your personal home space there. So, make sure you're keeping yourself safe and have a plan to take action if weather turns hazardous. It happens all year round, and just be prepared and make sure you're ready.
Wonderful words there from Ed Shimon. Thank you so much, Ed, for taking the time being here with us today.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Ed Shimon, warning coordination meteorologist with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, here on our WTIM morning show, live stream brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, in Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. You've been listening to WTIM, your information station.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
I'm Rich Thomason. At the direction of the Pentagon chief, the U.S. will be sending more military assets